Hello everyone, we are here at my second trimester video. What the heck. If you missed it, I did film a first trimester video. I'm sure most of you guys have probably seen it, but I'll link it below just in case. I filmed that one obviously just after I announced my pregnancy, and I can't believe we are now into the third trimester. So today's video is just going to be a little recap of my second trimester. So the past, how many weeks is in each trimester? My brain, 12 weeks? Or is it more than 12 weeks? Honestly, I'm so freaking tired. We'll talk about how I'm feeling in a moment. I've also got a bunch of questions from you guys. I asked a Q&A on Instagram, so I have screenshotted them and we're going to go through the most frequently asked questions as well. I know lots of... I keep knocking over things. I know lots of you guys are on this journey with me, which is so exciting. Some of you are like around the same time as me, some of you are a little behind, so I know lots of people are curious about how my experience is going. And yeah, I guess we will first start with a bump update because holy crap, it's a bit different from the last one. My tummy is massive and I've still got another friggin' couple months, 3 months, or how long is it? 3 months? I don't know. Like 10 more weeks of this at least, right? Why is my math not mathing today? Got no fake tan on right now, so excuse the pale arms. But here we are. So the dress I'm wearing today is from Rari Boutique as well, by the way. So I definitely noticed the bump really popped in probably the last 3 weeks. So I'd say from like 26 weeks onwards, it's like, woo, huge, and getting slightly more uncomfortable. Well, a lot more uncomfortable, that's a lie. So yeah, that is him right now. He is in there, he's comfy, he's active. So yeah, look, even from the front now it looks like ginormous, the bump. So that's that. I like just had a brain fart on how far along I am. So today while I'm filming this, it's gonna be like a week or two after that I'll get this video up. I might upload it next week, but today I'm 29 weeks, 77 days to go. If you want to know all the apps I use, that's in the first trimester video, by the way. I did write some notes on my phone, so I'll just go through my notes first, and then I will go through some of the like questions that you guys have for me. So the first trimester was week 1 to 12 roughly, and then the second trimester, it says here, is from like week 13 to week 27. So yeah, I'm 29 weeks, so I'm definitely in the third trimester now. From weeks like 12 to 16, I didn't really have anything to update, except for the fact that like the kind of hungover feeling that I was experiencing just went away. So in the first trimester, I mentioned that like I had a little bit of like sickness. It wasn't real bad nausea, it was like a mild kind of hangover all the time. So like uncomfortable, acid reflux, just felt dodgy all the time, but it was bearable. I feel like I was lucky in that aspect. But yeah, by, I don't even know, like, you know, 13, 14, 15 weeks, definitely I just felt normal again. I literally stopped feeling pregnant, which was kind of like a weird, scary feeling, but everything, you know, was fine according to the scan. So I was just like kind of in this weird limbo waiting for something to happen. Week 16 to 18, I noted here that I started getting real bad pins and needles in my arms and hands and stuff, especially when I was sleeping. It was like my blood circulation was just getting really shit, but my midwife wasn't worried. She said it's quite common, especially in the fingers, like carpal tunnel syndrome and stuff, which I've actually had in the past. From doing lots of computer work and stuff like years and years ago. I went to the doctor about it, but yeah, just poor circulation, swelling, a little bit of swelling, nothing too crazy. I've not had any like concerning swelling, and at each midwife appointment we check my blood pressure and everything to make sure that it's all good and I don't have any signs of like preeclampsia or anything like that. And no, everything's always been real normal, but I'm definitely puffy. I had to ditch the wedding ring around that time too, because just puffy, like my fingers are puffy, my wrists are puffy, my face is puffy, like I'm just puffy. Around that time also I just felt like my uterus was getting real heavy. Like I felt like the weight shift in my front was like, you know, significant. Like I definitely felt like there was something in there, you know, like it felt heavy all of a sudden. I started getting the little twitches, the little, what do you call them? Like the little butterfly feelings, I guess. Everyone calls them something different, but basically the first signs of movement from baby. So I wrote here that I think it was it 18 weeks I first felt it. It was actually on New Year's Eve. So it was New Year's Eve afternoon, I think, and I was leaning over the bench and I felt this weird twitching feeling in my lower left side. And what I described it like was kind of like when your eye twitches and like you can't control it. It felt like that. It didn't feel like gas. A lot of people say it feels like gas, but for me, like, that did not feel like gas. But I was still unsure if that was baby or not at that point. But then over that next week, like once a day, twice a day, I would feel the same feeling. And I was going for a lot of swims in the ocean, and often, like, once I would come out of the cold ocean and have a lay down on the beach, when I was just laying there, I would feel this little twitching muscle spasm kind of feeling, and I was like, I reckon that's the baby. And then by like 20 weeks was when I was noticing like proper, like, that's definitely a baby kind of movements. And at 21 weeks, Hamish felt the baby. We'll talk more about that in the Q&A section later in the video. And now, of course, you know, what's that, like 8 weeks after that, I feel him constantly. But yeah, we'll talk more about that soon. TMI, but I had so much like friggin' watery like discharge, like so much of it. At one point I was like, is my amniotic fluid leaking? I talked to my midwife about it. She was like, no, that's normal, you're fine. I was like, oh my god, thank god. I was like panicking about it. That kind of calmed down. It was just like this random few days where I had like more than normal. Don't know what that was about. Also, in like that same time period, so we're still talking like 16 to 18 kind of weeks, which was around New Year's for me, I believe, I had these sorest heels because I guess all of my weight, all of a sudden, the distribution of my weight had moved. My heels of my feet were so sore. I had to sit down all the time because my feet were killing me. I remember back when I'd go to like Europe and I'd walk around Rome all day, like, I say Rome in particular because of the pavements they have, like the cobblestones, and you get really, like, if you know, you know, you get really sore feet from walking on this like weird surface all day. It felt like that after I'd just been standing for like an hour. My feet were killing me. Now they're fine. It's like I've adjusted, but man, there was a couple of weeks there where I was like, how am I gonna survive? All right, 22 weeks, I had some dull cramping kind of pains. They were worse when I would sit still, but if I was walking around and kind of doing light exercise and stuff, they'd go away. So I just spent lots of the day walking around and, you know, cleaning and doing stuff like that to keep my mind off it. But it was just like the stretching pains, like the round ligament pains and things. I ran past it with my midwife and she wasn't concerned at all. Yeah, I did like on and off through the first trimester, second trimester, get a lot of those kind of dull aching pains and cramps and things, like this awkward cramp. There was only one day where it really lasted like the whole day. Every other time it was just an hour or two a day or every few days, like it wasn't even every day. And I feel like now the pain has changed, but we'll talk about that in a second. Yeah, I wrote down here at 22 weeks, around that same time as when I felt like way more constant movement from the baby. Instead of just feeling him like a couple of times a day, I was feeling him like when I was sitting working, when I'd like stand up, just like I'd always be feeling him. At 22 weeks as well, my digestion was a lot better. My metabolism was feeling a lot better. You know, going to the bathroom, all those things. If you know, you know. After that first trimester, it's a bit of a struggle for some people. It was for me. So at 22 weeks, like everything was just kind of as per normal. We love that. And then I wrote here, 24 weeks time just felt like it really slowed down. Like everything got so slow. But then now, at like 29 weeks, I'm like, holy shit, where's all the time gone? So it's like this weird, like everything seems like it's slowed down so much from like that first trimester, which is like, I guess because you're so anxious, like you've got all these like appointments, you've got all of these like scans coming up and like, you know, the safe zone and like getting through that first trimester and getting through all of those milestones makes it go a little bit quicker sometimes. Like it still feels slow, but also quick. I don't know how to describe it, whereas like, yeah, the second trimester, end of the second trimester, I was like, I feel like I've been pregnant for my entire life. Until now, I'm like, holy freaking shit. I'm in the third trimester, how? You know, like it's such a weird like mind fuck, I don't know. All right, 28 weeks is when I started feeling like so uncomfortable. So I'll talk about how I'm feeling now. So first of all, baby's movements, I feel them all the time. Sometimes I feel like a really weird pressure and I look down and one side of my stomach's literally like out. It's like he's like pushing his back out or his bum out or his head out or I don't know what it is, but literally like my stomach will be like round like this on one side and round like this on the other side, and then like eventually it'll go down as he moves. Yeah, hiccups, I feel him hiccuping. I wasn't sure like what hiccups felt like until last week. I felt the first ones and it feels like the kicks, like the little kicks, except much softer and it's in like a rhythm. Like you imagine your hiccups, it's like that, like just little ding, ding, and it goes for a while. Like, I don't know, he seems to get them for like a minute or two. I don't feel him roll around as much. I feel like earlier in that second trimester, so probably like maybe 23, 24 weeks, I feel like I could feel when he would turn over and roll around, like I could feel the pressure on my like bladder and other organs, I guess. Like I could literally feel him turn over. I don't feel that so much now. Like now it's just like, I don't know, big continuous movements. I can feel him like moving like limbs. I can feel him jabbing, kicking. Like I'll feel him on one side of my stomach and the other side of my stomach, because he's obviously like bending and stretching and doing all sorts of weird things. Like I don't just feel him in one spot anymore. I feel him all over. He still favors like the bottom of my belly. Like I carry him quite low, it seems, but sometimes at night time he comes up like well above my belly button as well and starts like jabbing me, especially on the sides. And when I'm sleeping overnight, he definitely likes to like cradle himself into my side. So like I wake up in the morning and he's like fully on one side of my body. And it's really weird like learning all of these patterns as well. It's so crazy. Now, like I said, I'm so uncomfortable. I'm out of breath all the time. Right now I'm like literally struggling to breathe because I'm like talking so quick. I've got heaps and heaps of stretch marks, which I try not to worry too much about because I'm just like, whatever, I'm growing a nice big healthy boy. So, you know, these things happen. I think I've got a couple of questions about, you know, body stuff, so I'll answer that soon. The biggest uncomfortable thing is just the feeling of tightness. Like I oil my belly all the time, which definitely helps, but also like my ribs feel like they're about to explode. Like I feel like there's no space in here for him. Also sometimes I feel like I can feel him kick under my rib, and that sucks. And sometimes he boots me in the cervix too, like near like my cervix area. I can feel it, like it's like this weird like, I don't know, it feels so messed up. I'm like, oh, it's really uncomfortable. Whereas all of the ones just on your belly, like they're great, they're fun. And then you get these ones to the ribs, the hip, the friggin' cervix. I'm like, can you not do that right now, please? I do feel like now that he's bigger as well, one bonus is that he no longer like seems to just squash my bladder as much. I'm sure that'll change soon as he once again runs out of room, you know, further into this third trimester. In the very first trimester, he sat so low and it was always on my bladder. Sometimes I felt like I was getting a UTI, but I wasn't. I got my urine tested every time I went to the like midwives and all of these things, and it always resolved itself. And you know, it would just be like a few hours a day here and there where I felt like I was getting a UTI, and it was just him, like the pressure of him on my bladder. I'm pretty sure I talked to the midwife about it, and that was kind of like the early second trimester. I still had that a couple of times, but now that he's bigger, he seems to have like kind of got himself up and off of the bladder as often, so that's really nice, so I don't feel so squished. It's weird, I find myself touching my stomach all the time. I used to always be like, why do pregnant people just like sit there touching their stomach? But like, I think it's one, because your baby's in there, so it's kind of like bonding and feeling for those kicks, and it's just like a comforting kind of motion to like touch your tummy. But also it's the fact that all of a sudden you've got this huge tummy out the front of you and it's kind of out of place and you don't really know what to do with yourself, so you kind of just like rest your hands on it and touch it a lot. Like, I don't know, it's a really weird thing. So yeah, I think the rib pain right now is the very, very, very worst part. Like it just feels like my ribs are like so squished and suppressed. I wrote here that my stretch marks got worse at about 17 weeks. I had them around like the 12 to 15 week mark, but they were very tiny little ones, whereas like at like 17, 18 weeks they were like huge stretch marks. And I feel like that is mostly where we're at. Oh, we started the nursery in the second trimester, got the cot set up, got the bassinet set up, got the change table set up, most of his clothes are washed. I've still got like time obviously, but I just wanted to get heaps of it sorted. I did so much cleaning and nesting of just like the general house, like the baby room. The baby room's such a big mess right now though, so I'm gonna tidy that up again because we just keep getting all this stuff, so it just goes in there for now. I'm gonna tidy that up again, and then after my baby shower, which is next week, I'm having it at 30 weeks pregnant. You guys will see pictures probably in Instagram stories of that. I figured like after I've had that, I will like finish off the baby room a lot more and just really get it settled and ready. So let's go on to some Q&As. One of the most common questions is the fatigue and nausea all gone, still struggling. So yeah, like I said, definitely felt pretty normal most of the second trimester. Definitely had moments of tiredness, and now as I've like gone into this third trimester, the last week or two I've been quite tired and just like flat. But in saying that, I've still been so productive and got so much work and stuff done. So it's not the same kind of fatigue as I experienced in that first trimester. It might get worse, I'll have to update you guys. Someone says, sex even a thing during pregnancy? Yes. Yeah. But it's a little bit less like right now. But that's not even necessarily to do with like the pregnancy. That's just because Hamish and I have been so busy, and you know, sometimes you go through those periods. But it definitely is. You obviously just have to kind of adjust to your new body shape and try different things. The biggest difference between first and second trimester, the biggest differences are you have way more energy, you feel less sick, you feel like you can eat way more foods again. I don't have those same like food aversions. I still get cravings for certain things, but I can eat like heaps of stuff and eat healthy foods and not feel like crap. You know, the first trimester, a lot of healthy foods, I was just like, bleh. I just wanted to live off like bread, toast, Marmite sandwiches, you know. Whereas now, like, I eat salads most days and like eat really well, and I love it again. Like, I feel like my appetite's the same as pre-pregnancy and I'm eating those similar things. And also just like the size, like your body changes so much in that second trimester compared to the first. So it's just adjusting to your new body. Like, that's crazy. What will you do with your nails when baby comes? Still long, we have them short. I'll probably start getting them a little bit shorter, maybe after my baby shower, just to see how I like them. I can't imagine having short nails for a long time. I just don't want to accidentally like stab my baby. I don't think I'll have like short. I think I'll just have them shorter and see how I go, and I can just get them shorter if I need to as well. Does your doctor know how much coffee you drink? Literally, it's not even an issue. I have like 1 coffee maybe 5 times a week. Everyone's different though. Like, if you've got health conditions and different things like that, you could be advised not to have coffee. Some people have way more coffee than I do. There is still like a safe limit that people suggest. It's something that you need to talk to your like doctor and midwife about, but literally I don't have like energy drinks and stuff like that just because of all the extra ingredients in them. I'd prefer just to stick to like coffee for caffeine, if that makes sense. I don't have pre-workout, I don't have anything like that. I just stick to a coffee. And some days I just need it, you know, but I don't have them every single day. And then some days I still have like Coke Zero. I love Coke Zero, that's my favorite. Or Coke No Sugar it's called now, isn't it? I don't know, which I think has a little bit of caffeine in it, but once again, just not going overboard. Some people get really offended on the fact that I have a coffee a day, and I'm like, mind blowing, because it's literally fine. Well, once again, for me and my health, it's fine. What was Hamish's reaction when he first felt the baby move? He was like, oh, like that. And he just like smiled. He's like, oh my god, that's so weird, kind of thing. Whereas now that it's like frequent and often, like he can like put his hand there and the baby will just like wiggle around and move around, and Hamish likes it. And sometimes like I'll be like, oh, I haven't felt the baby move in like the last couple of hours. Like, I'll just quickly lay down and see if I feel him move, which I always do. But like this one time he was being real stubborn. I don't know where he was sitting. And so I was laying on the couch and Hamish like comes up and he kind of like boinked my stomach. He's like, where are you? And then the baby was like, "Fucha," and like karate chopped Hamish's finger away, and he was like, oh my god, he got such a fright. He was like, I think I just pissed him off. Like, that was a very strong kick. I feel like I'm really lucky that this was another question as well. My placenta is in my back. Let me check what that's called. But basically meaning like, you know, I feel like I probably feel a lot of those kicks, like quite strong. Posterior, I think it's called. So I definitely felt him kicking like pretty early compared to some first time mothers. So I'm so thankful for that actually. I was very happy about that. What are you craving the most? Oh my god, this whole trimester, lemon water. But not just any lemon water. Water with literally like a half lemon squeezed into it. I don't put the skin in and everything. I literally just like squeeze the lemon, and I'm so lucky. At my granddad's, he's passed away now, but I owned the house that he lived in, and we actually recently sold it. But beforehand, like, there was so many beautiful lemons, so I was having my granddad's lemons. And then now that their house is sold, Hamish's mum has some friends with like the most beautiful lemons. She's got beautiful lemons, and Hamish's mum, she always brings me over bags of lemons, and I'll tell you what, we eat them all. Like, they're so good. And I say this because, like, don't you reckon that homegrown lemons are so much juicier and more delicious than the ones you get at the supermarket? Those ones taste like friggin' like acid or something, whereas homegrown ones, they're so sweet and just, like, they're still sour because they're lemons, but they're so much sweeter. We've got a lemon tree here, and ours are kind of like average still. I don't know, hopefully like in a year or two they'll be even better, but we won't even be living here anymore. My dang lemons. Lemon water. Oh, there's also this juice you can get, and it's like lemon and ginger and honey. Love that. I don't know, I love the burning feeling in my throat. That's definitely been my biggest craving, and ever since Whittaker's came out with it, that freaking blondie chocolate. Oh, I crave that all the time, but I think I would if I wasn't pregnant as well. I try not to go overboard on it. We literally buy like a big block and I'm like, this must last a whole week, which isn't even that long, but I'm like, I need to not eat all of this in one go. Do you know what I mean? Like, I have to like ration it out throughout the week so that I don't just like eat the whole thing. But yeah, lemon water 100% is the biggest craving I've had. What foods do I avoid? I avoid like leftovers for the most part, especially like leftover rice and stuff like that. I don't have raw fish. I don't have runny egg yolks and stuff like that. I'm not too strict, but I'm not too willy-nilly either. Like, most of the foods I like at the moment are just foods that I can have anyway. And like when it comes to salads and stuff like that, I just make sure I'm washing it really well. So yeah, I really need to know what outfit you were going to wear for the gender reveal if it were a girl. Honestly, I didn't plan any outfits. The outfit I wore for our sex reveal of our baby, I literally just picked it up out of the wardrobe. I think I changed once or twice because I wasn't feeling what I was wearing, but I didn't like plan it, to be honest. I didn't like do anything special. We literally went to our 20-week ultrasound. That's something that I haven't really talked about here. We went to our 20-week ultrasound, which was the sex one and also just development to see how the baby's developed. And I was like, holy shit, we're having a boy. We went straight to Spotlight, got some balloons, went home and took a picture. Like, literally. I'll talk about the 20-week scan quickly as well. So the 20-week scan was, yeah, when we found out we were having a boy. She was like, do you want to know? I was like, yes. And me and Hamish were like talking because we were both like nervous, and we were like, oh my gosh, it's probably going to be a girl because we've got so many like girls in our family. Hamish and I both have 2 nieces each, you know, on both sides. And then I'm from a big family of girls, and Hamish was just like, yeah, we'll have a girl, it'll be a girl, it'll be a girl. And then she's like, it's a boy. And I was like, oh my god, I was like in shock. Like, I didn't even know what to think. I was happy for either. I've said that because for a while I thought I was so certain it was going to be a girl, and then for a while I was so certain it was going to be a boy. Hamish was like, oh my god. And anyway, we finished the rest of our scan, we went to the car. I was like, Hamish, like, are you happy? He's like, I'm so happy. I was like, me too. He was like, oh my god. I was like, I like can't believe it, like we're having a boy. Like, he was just absolutely wrapped. And I was just like, I can't believe it. Like, I never imagined myself to actually be a boy mum. Even though growing up, when I talk about kids, I was like, I want a boy, like I don't want a girl. Girls are difficult. Even though they both will be. But I was thinking about myself. I was like, I don't want to raise a teenage girl. But the thing is, like, I do. Like, I wouldn't mind having a girl. Maybe later, we'll see. But I'm so excited to be having a boy. So excited. Hamish and I are both very happy. Is there anything about pregnancy surprised you, or is what you were not expecting? I'd say the biggest thing that surprised me is how like good in my brain I have felt. Apparently it's all these pregnancy hormones making you feel great, but you know, after dealing with years and years and years of anxiety and other things, pregnancy has been such a nice experience for me. It's been, I don't know, just really joyful. Most of the time I just feel so happy. There's definitely been a few moments in the second trimester where I've had these awkward like mood swings, you know, the pregnancy mood swings. Not in terms of like happy to angry, just happy to like crying. Like, I'll just start crying. I'm like, why am I crying? The biggest thing I'm surprised about is just how level-headed and how like joyful it's been. You know, I feel like everyone talks about how terrible pregnancy is. There's definitely moments that absolutely suck, and like, you know, you have days where you're just like, oh, I just want today to be over. But also, like, for me, I just feel like really lucky that for the most part it's been a really positive experience. How's my sleeping pattern? I usually sleep from like maybe like 11 at night until 8 or 9 in the morning. I sleep pretty well. I don't have naps at the moment. Don't find I really need naps at the moment. And I definitely wake up quite a few times throughout the night to pee at this stage. I feel like at the start of the second trimester, maybe it was like once or twice waking up to pee. Now it's probably 2 to 3 to 4 times a night at the moment. But I fall asleep so quick. Like I literally get up, pee, go back to bed, and I'm like out like a light. So I'm definitely not like up overnight, and he kicks me all night. Like every time I wake up to pee, like I said, I can literally fall asleep like that, but I'll usually try to lay there and be like, let me just make sure like I can feel him before I fall asleep, and literally like boom, 10 seconds later he's like boop boop boop, and I'm like cool, sweet, and I'm out. I'm like asleep. So he's kicking me overnight, but I don't like, it doesn't wake me up. Anyone's that wake me up are the ones that are like in the ribs and stuff like that. So stay tuned. I feel like this next trimester I might start getting some more of those like real big uncomfortable kicks that might start waking me up harder, but currently I'm sleeping really well, thank goodness, because I love to sleep. That's like my biggest thing about when the baby's here, I'm going to struggle with is my sleeping, but I know that I'll just do it, and I'll just have to do it, and I'll just get used to it. It is what it is. Am I still working out at the gym? No. I actually cancelled my gym membership because what was it, coming up for a renew or doing week by week? I think it was week by week. Like we didn't renew it because obviously we're moving, well, we're building a house and we will be moving, and we don't know when exactly we're moving, but it's going to be this year sometime, hopefully, touch wood. And we'll change gym because it's going to be quite far from our current gym. So we were like, we'll just pay week by week, blah blah blah. And anyway, I was like, I'm barely going to the gym. I'd rather go for walks. I'm just a bit tired in the mornings when Hamish goes to the gym, and I was just like, let's just cancel my gym membership. It's just a waste of money at this point. When I want to exercise, I go for walks, and I prefer that. I like the fresh air, and it's just gentle and chill, and I'm happy with that. So yeah, no gym workouts at the moment, nothing crazy. I'm just honestly just doing whatever my body tells me to do in terms of like, you know, if I want to do something a bit more strenuous or just chill or nothing at all or whatever the case may be. How's my family feeling? Everyone's very, very excited. My mum is over the moon. She can't wait. Hamish's mum is just so ecstatic. She went up with Hamish's stepdad, and they both put up like baby gates at the beach house already. It's all ready to go. They're so nice. Yeah, everyone's so excited. Okay, how you've adapted to your body changes throughout pregnancy. I've struggled. This is like one thing I'm really thankful for, I think, and that is the fact that I have waited. Like obviously everyone's different. This does not apply to everyone. But for me personally, I waited until I was in my later 20s, and that was good for multiple reasons. It was good so I could get my life sorted out, get my finances sorted out, get my job sorted out, get travel out of the way, get married, be in a stable long-term relationship, all these things that were important to me. They're not important to everyone, but just because of how I was raised, this was important to me, right? And one of those things that was kind of like a bonus to that is I was in a much better headspace with my body image. You know, after struggling with body image for like, you know, most of our lives, I'm sure lots of you guys can relate to that, you know, since I was like hitting puberty and stuff, and then growing up and being in the public eye and stuff, and like constantly being worried about what I look like, you know, in the last couple of years, I really just focused more on how I felt. Like I would work out for how I felt a lot more than what it would make me look like, because if there's one thing I know about my body, it's that it changes so much. Honestly, my body fluctuates constantly, and it always has. It's just my body. So weight gain didn't really bother me, like thinking about weight gain. The shape change doesn't really bother me that much. I'm growing a baby, you know, sometimes I'm like, oh my god, like I'm huge, and Hamish's like, you've literally got a baby inside of you, like it's amazing. I'm like, you're right. The stretch marks, same thing. Hamish is like, who cares? He's like, it's genetic, like what are you gonna do about it? My mum got them too. My boobs have stretch marks all over them, my arms, my legs, but you can't even see them because they all just like go silver anyway over time. So I'm like, whatever, like they'll fade, they'll go away as well. And if they don't, then oh well, like who really cares? I'm just like, I'm growing a baby, my body's gonna change, and it's probably never gonna be the same. It's gonna change to a whole new different after the baby's here. It is what it is. I'm just done caring. Like I would rather focus on how amazing this pregnancy has been to me so far, and focus on like the good things, and focus on like the fact that my baby is ginormous, which, you know, I know these scans can be wrong, like the size of the baby can be wrong. We'll see. At the moment he's tracking big, but it could be wrong. It could be wrong. It could be wrong. Hopefully it's wrong. Hopefully he's average. Either way, I'm growing a beautiful, healthy baby boy, and that's what I'm focused on. Like, I just want him to be perfect, and he will be. Did you dye your hair in pregnancy? I made the decision to, but a few friends have made me question whether it was the right decision. Yeah, I have. I've bleached my hair. I just don't do bleach on like my actual like scalp. I get foils. I've checked with, you know, my midwife. I've checked with my hairdresser. Most hairdressers won't do anything that makes them, you know, if they're doing something, they're not going to do it. If they know you're pregnant and you shouldn't be doing it, they'll tell you that, you know. I think you'll be fine, but once again, something to talk to your midwife about. Thyroid update, please. So I'm still just on the same dose, and I still just get regular blood tests to check my thyroid and make sure that that dose is okay. So I'm just on a lower dose and take it every morning, and it's fine. You know, it's fine at the moment. It's not affecting my pregnancy. So they just keep a close eye on it. With respect and love, have your breast implants been affected by your pregnancy? Not that I know of, and hopefully they won't affect my breastfeeding. I will keep you guys updated. Maternity websites you're using, please. I've been doing the Hatched antenatal classes. I'm not done yet, but so far so good. I'll link them below if you want to check them out. She gifted me the course actually when I was asking on my Instagram stories what you guys recommended, because there's a big sea surge in my city right now. Hamish and I were just not keen to go to actual antenatal classes or anything like that, and even so, like, even if there wasn't, it's just not really my thing. Group class things, ugh, just gives me the gross, gives me the ick. So online was much better for us, something we could do on our own time, on our own schedule, at our own pace. We could binge watch it, we could watch one bit, you know, whatever we wanted to do, that worked better for us. And my midwives were happy with that. Apparently it's pretty common these days, so I was asking on Instagram lots of like questions about who's the best, and Hatch came up a lot, and there's a couple other courses which I have also got some access to, so I'll keep you guys updated. I'm assuming that's what she means by maternity websites I'm using. And if you're talking about clothes, check out my latest clothing haul, but I'm pretty sure she means antenatal classes. He's moving so much right now. It feels so weird. When you first felt movement, what did you do? Did you freak out or cry? I can't wait. Honestly, it's like the most exciting part, isn't it? Like looking forward to those movements. When I first felt it, I was just unsure, so I didn't really have like much of a reaction at all. I was just kind of excited, but not trying to overthink it just in case it wasn't the baby moving. Do you know what I mean? I was like, maybe it wasn't, maybe it was gas, even though it didn't feel like gas, but I was just kind of like, oh, that's cool. Hopefully that's what I think it was, and didn't really talk about it too much, if you know what I mean. But once I realized it was baby, like I was just like, I don't know, it was like a peaceful moment. Like I would just lay there in silence and just smile. And then one of the other questions was the glucose test. So in my latest vlog, I also talk about the glucose test. I'll link that vlog down below where I talk about it in detail. But let me just say that in my opinion, the glucose test, it's obviously not fun, but don't freak out too much about it. I was freaking out about it, like freaking out. It's not delicious, the drink that you have to drink, but it's not the worst thing ever. You can just scull it. If you can scull, like, you know, if you've sculled a cruiser before, you'll be all good. And then it's like the blood test afterwards. It sucks, it's a blood test, but you can do it. It's all for a good reason, and you'll be sweet. If I can do it, you can do it, I promise. How does it feel getting closer and closer to giving birth? Surreal. Like I feel like it's so far away, but it's not. It's a weird feeling. I'm just so excited to meet my baby. Like I can't wait. I can't wait to see Hamish meet the baby. Like I feel like I'm more excited to see Hamish become a father than I am to see myself become a mother, if that makes sense. I don't know what it is. It's so weird. Like I think I'm just so excited to like have this like family, you know. Obviously Hamish is already family to me, but I don't know. It's like a really weird thing. Like I'm just so excited for like, I don't know, just all three of us. And I'm so excited for the dogs to meet the baby too. I know they'll be good, hopefully anyway. I mean, people have started trying to give me like nightmare stories in my DMs, and I really do not appreciate it. They're like, my dog was so loving before I had a baby and would cuddle me and blah, blah, blah. And then my baby came in, the dog would just try to attack Vic. I'm like, can we not go there, please? Every time my dogs have been around babies, so my baby nieces, around my best friend's baby, they're so funny. Like Louis just wants to play. Usually he'll like take his toy and like trot over and put his toy down on like the baby's like legs, like throw him a toy, and he's pretty good. Like he doesn't get too rowdy. He's quite a rowdy dog. Like he'll jump up on people and like get real excited to see them and stuff, and then he'll kind of like settle down and cuddle up to them and just go to sleep. But but I always worry, I'm like, oh my god, I hope he doesn't like jump all over the baby, but he never seems to. Obviously I would never leave my baby unsupervised around my dogs, no matter how much I trust my dogs, because common sense, hello. But yeah, hopefully he doesn't get cocky and start jumping up and stuff, but I'll just have to like train him not to do that. And then Zeus likes to just overlook babies. He likes to sit up on the couch and not be too close. He just likes to look down at them and be like, yeah, you're good. And then if the baby starts crying, he's like down on the ground, he's looking at the baby, he's growling at me, he's growling at the mother, going, hello, like, can you look after your baby please? Like, he gets real offended. He's like a babysitter. He's like, action. We need some action in here. Settle the baby. Make it happy. It is not happy. You need to do something. Do we have a name picked out? We do, but it's a secret. Oh, and by the way, I've been sleeping on my side now for a while. I think they say from 28 weeks, is it, that you should definitely be sleeping on your side. But I've been trying to sleep on my side since like the end of the first trimester just to get used to it, because I used to sleep only on my stomach, and then I started sleeping on my back during early pregnancy just because for some reason it started feeling real comfy. But yeah, I've just got my like U-shaped pillow that I linked in my first trimester video, and then I've also got a body pillow from another brand which I will link down below. It's saved on my Instagram, but I'll pop it down below. I think they gave me a discount code. I don't know if it's still valid, but anyway, and I use both of them. So I have like a body pillow and the U-shaped pillow, and I'll just like wedge myself into like a really comfy position on my side, and I can sleep like that for ages, and it's really comfy. I fall asleep so quickly. Are you gonna reveal the baby's name before birth? No, I don't think so. I think I'll just like let everyone know once he is here. Hamish and I actually decided on the name like the day, well, we pretty much decided. We didn't commit, but like the name that we picked on the day that we found out the sex of the baby, that he was a boy, we are using. There was like a couple we were like, maybe, but we committed. I guess that's just me and Hamish to a T. We're just like, done. And yeah, just questions about how the baby's measuring. So he was measuring like 2-3 weeks ahead according to my midwife, and then according to my scan, he was in the 98th percentile for size. And I get measured again next week at my midwife, and then I have another scan at 32 weeks just to check on his kidneys, because he had one kidney that was a little bit enlarged. They're not too worried. I talked about this on my vlog that I've linked down below as well. Nothing too crazy, just something that they want to check up on in another scan, because that's not normal here in New Zealand. Usually we stop at the 20-week scan unless there's like other stuff we're monitoring, but I'm really hoping that he starts measuring a little bit more average soon. And like I said, I know lots of people always say in my DMs, they're like, don't worry about it, like they're always so wrong. I know, but first time mother, I'm still a little bit like, eh. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for the support, thank you for the love, thank you for all of your sweet comments on my Instagram and my DMs and on my vlogs. I always read them, doesn't go unnoticed, and hopefully you enjoy this odd video on my YouTube channel of baby stuff, because I'll probably keep doing the odd like baby videos with my beauty videos on this channel, because that's just my life now, you know, like it's just the transition into who I am becoming. So you know, hopefully you like it, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye.